Actually, I haven't been out to shoot anything in a month now. I shot a whole bunch of episodes right before spring break, so I'd have stuff to release every week. So now it's been a month. But let's get back out there. Today we're going to fill in a gap that we left in the original IRT subway line in Manhattan. We're going to head back over to the lower part of the IRT Broadway line and have a closer look at it. If you're just finding this channel, I pick out places in New York City to go explore, and I take you with me. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. For now, let's head back over to the west side, get back on the IRT Broadway line. Let's go. Here we are, 110 Cathedral Parkway and Broadway. Subway's right over there. Let's get back to it. So in that first episode that I did at the subway, we looked at that first IRT line in Manhattan. I kind of ran through it pretty quickly and just touched on some highlights. Since then, I've been going back and doing detailed videos of every station. So this is that last gap that I haven't done yet in Manhattan. So if you remember, the original line, when it first opened, looked like a Z. And it came down the west side from 145th Street to 42nd Street, and then turned and went down 42nd Street over to Grand Central Station, and then turned again and went down to First City Hall. And then shortly after that, it continued on to Bowling Green, and then on into Brooklyn later. Shortly after that, they opened extensions down the west side on 7th Avenue and up the east side along Lexington Avenue. And then the system went from looking like a Z to looking like an H. That central part turned into the shuttle that ran between the two trunk lines. So now we're back on the west side, looking at this part of the original system. So this is 110th Street, Cathedral Parkway. This station opened on October 27th, 1904, with the rest of the original stations in this line. The opening of this station helped contribute to the development of Morningside Heights and Harlem up here. The station has 2 side platforms, 3 tracks. The center track is an unused express track these days. They've run expresses on it from time to time in the past. As with the other stations we've seen in this early IRT segment, there was an original section that was shorter, and then they extended the platforms later to fit the longer 10-car trains that they moved to. The designs of this station, which were done by Hines and Lafarge, were inspired partly by other projects they were working on in the Morningside Heights area, including their work on the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. And Broadway. This station was also constructed by the IRT, the Interboro Rapid Transit Company, and opened on July 27th of 1904 with the first set of 28 stations. Once again, the station has 2 side platforms, 3 tracks, unused express track in the middle there. There's a mezzanine above. And as with the rest of this line, it was constructed using cut and cover. You can see the streets right up there. There was a station house in the median of Broadway up on the street that opened with the station in 1904. It was also designed by Hines and Lafarge. And it was built as one of the several station houses along this first line. It was similar to other station houses on the line, like the ones at Atlantic Avenue, Bowling Green, Mott Avenue. There was also an identical one on 116th Street, which was also torn down. This one was demolished in 1969. We visited some of the station houses that still exist in that first IRT episode. Check that one out if you haven't seen it. Mezzanine with crossover. Now we're at 96th Street. This opened with the original line in 1904. We've actually been here before. We started here when we did the Lenox Avenue extension. Just check that episode out if you haven't seen it. So this station has 2 island platforms, 4 tracks. This is the last station where the 2 and the 3 stop before they head off to the east over toward the Bronx and up into Harlem. Down at that end of the station, there are 2 unused side platforms. They used those originally when the station opened for unloading on both sides of the train. Once they extended the platforms for longer cars, they stopped using those and closed them off. There's a new modern head house that was built upstairs in 2010. Before the modern head house that's up there now, there was an original control house that was built in 1904 with the opening of the station. It's been torn down since then. It was similar to the one at Bowling Green and 103rd Street, 116th Street, and 72nd Street, which we'll see that one today. Here you can see those original unused side platforms. And this is that modern station house that was built in 2010. Again, here you can see the original pillars from the original part of the subway, and they changed them to I-beams on the extensions. You can also see the transition from the new part of the tile to the old part of the tile. Now we're at 86th Street. Again, opened with the original line, 1904. Another local station, 2 platforms, 4 tracks now. Again, originally built shorter, and you can see the original pillars, and the columns that are down further on the extension are I-beams. On first glance, I don't see much original stuff. This all looks like it's been redone, but let's go look around. I found what's left. Down at the original end, there's just a tiny little bit of the original tiling. Even this detail in the ceiling is fantastic. And now we're at 79th Street. This also opened October 27th, 1904 as part of the original 28 stations. The station has 2 side platforms, 4 tracks, express trains are in the middle. As with the other stations on this original line, you can see where the original part is because it has the round pillars and the I-beams are on the extensions. So this station, along with a bunch of the other stations on this line, helped to contribute to the development of the Upper West Side over here. In fact, the Apthorpe apartment building, if I'm saying that right, was built right upstairs just before the subway opened in anticipation of the line coming up here. Here's the Apthorpe. I'm on the same side of the street as it, and it's pretty big, so it's hard to see a lot of it right here, but it's there. These updates and the extensions are not quite as good looking. I love this door. I don't know what's back there, but that is a gorgeous utility door. Now we're at 72nd Street. Express station, 2 island platforms, 4 tracks. Also one of the original 28 stations that opened in 1904. So this station's only exit was through an original station house. It's still up there. We'll go see it in a second. That station house is one of the few surviving examples of Heinz and Lafarge's station houses on this system. Designed in a Flemish Renaissance style. Interestingly, when the line first opened, the station house was very unpopular in the neighborhood. The New York Times called it a miserable monstrosity to architecture. I don't think we think that anymore. So this is the original station house. They built another one across the street in 2002 to put elevators in to get up to ADA compliance. The original one's right over there, and this is the one from 2002 that they built across the street. Now we're at 66th Street, Lincoln Center. This station opened with the rest of the stations in that first line on October 27, 1904. 2 side platforms, 4 tracks, local station. Also constructed using cut and cover. You can see some daylight coming through there. So this station was obviously here a long time before Lincoln Center was built, but after it was built, there are tunnels that are added down at that end. They go right into parts of Lincoln Center. The rest of Lincoln Center is up here. We've been here. You can check out that episode if you haven't seen it. All right, back on the subway. 59th Street, Columbus Circle. This opened with the original 28 stations on October 27, 1904. You can also transfer to the AC, B, and D. Those I&D platforms opened in 1933. We checked out the I&D part of this station in a different episode. Check out that one if you haven't seen it. Glass block ceiling for more natural light. Nice. Here at the top of the glass blocks, Columbus Circle. Now we're at 50th Street, another one of the original stations. This opened along with the rest of the first 28 stations in October of 1904. Local station, 2 side platforms, 4 tracks. Most of the original plaques and such were removed during remodeling, although one of the original plaques was saved and put at the New York Transit Museum, which we've gone to see. Go check out that episode if you haven't seen it yet. This is Times Square, 42nd Street. Originally this area was called Longacre Square. Then the New York Times decided to move down to this part of the town right about the same time the subway was coming through. So the City Board of Aldermen decided to rename this from Longacre Square to Times Square just before the subway opened. And the Rapid Transit Commission agreed to rename the station Times Station as well. So the platforms that I'm standing on now are not the original Times Square platforms for this line. We'll go over to those in a minute. Those original platforms are where the shuttle is now. These platforms were built during the dual contracts period and opened at about 1917. So this part of the station is an express station, 2 island platforms, 4 tracks. So now we're over here at the shuttle platform, which is actually the original platforms on this line at 42nd Street in Times Square. Remember, the line was first in that Z shape, so it came down the west side, cut across here from 42nd Street, Times Square, where we are now, over to 42nd Street, Grand Central, and then continued down on the east side. This is the point where it turned to go across down 42nd Street. So the original station was over here, where the shuttle platforms are now, before they built that other station that we just saw during the dual contracts period. And where we're standing right now is actually where the tracks used to continue through. Only one of the tracks continues through now, and it's actually behind that wall. The other set of tracks ends at a bumper block there, and then they've ripped out the express tracks in the middle here. There's some original stuff hidden over there next to track 1, so we'll go find that. This is the famous door that used to go directly into the Knickerbocker Hotel. So this was part of the original platform on this side. The original platform on the other side was further back behind the wall now. And you can see how they've got markings in the platform here to kind of signify where the express tracks used to be. You can see the track 4 original platform down that tunnel, but can't get to it. So you got track 1 on this side, track 4 over there. It's 2 and 3, which were the express tracks that were ripped out fairly recently too. Track 3 was just taken out of service in 2020 and replaced with this island platform. Track 2 was taken out in 1918 though, and replaced by a temporary wooden platform at the time. So this whole modern island is pretty recent. But that's it for this segment, and actually that wraps up all of the original IRT line here in Manhattan. I'm gonna hop on the shuttle and head over to Grand Central on my way home. On this end of the line, this passageway actually comes through where the express tracks used to be. And And you can pick up here with the episode about the Lexington Avenue line. Check that one out. On back up to the east side after a nice look at the last of the beautiful original IRT stations on that original line in Manhattan. If you're just finding this channel, be sure to check out all the rest of the episodes already available on YouTube up to the east side. Like and subscribe, tell all your friends about it, and look for new episodes every Friday. Thanks for coming with me to explore New York City. I'll see you next time.